From the WATE.com Digital Center, answering your legal questions. This is Ask Isaacs. Now, here's Lori Tucker and attorney Greg Isaacs.
Hello everyone, I'm Austin Martin at the WATE.com Alert Desk. This is Ask Isaacs. Now today we're discussing Britney Spears and the ordeal she's faced over the past 13 years, a conservatorship. Now Spears is back in court this week petitioning to hire her own attorney and end this deal. Now the ACLU is supporting her bid as well. Here's the latest from ABC News.
This morning, the fight for Britney Spears' freedom back in court. The parties involved in running Spears' life going before a judge for the first time since Spears delivered that powerful testimony just 3 weeks ago. The pop star saying she's been isolated, exploited, embarrassed, and demoralized by the conservatorship that's controlled her life and nearly $60 million estate. Britney telling the court, "I truly believe this conservatorship is abusive," and saying, "I just want my life back." Attorneys expected to hash out the pile of competing petitions made to the court since that bombshell hearing, including Spears' co-conservator of person Jody Montgomery's plea for security to protect her from death threats, and an assessment of how Spears' father is spending her money. Under the conservatorship, Jamie earns nearly $16,000 a month, while Britney, according to confidential court documents, says she was limited to a $2,000 allowance. The judge also set to consider Spears' request to hire her own attorney. Throughout the conservatorship, she's been represented by court-appointed attorney Samuel Ingham. But after she criticized his handling of her case in court last month, claiming no one ever told her she had the right to petition the court to end her conservatorship, Ingham filing papers asking to resign. And now the ACLU is standing up for Spears, this week filing an amicus brief supporting Spears' right to choose her own attorney and urging the court to ensure that Ms. Spears is granted access to the information and tools necessary to select a lawyer.
Hi, Britney.
Earlier this year, the documentary Framing Britney Spears renewed interest in Spears' conservatorship and the Free Britney movement. On Tuesday, the documentary nominated for 2 Emmy Awards.
All credit goes to Britney for speaking out courageously as she did in that court hearing. I think if the documentary helped provide some awareness for the general public of her conservatorship, I think that's a really good thing.
Since Britney's explosive statement 3 weeks ago, a lot of blame has been tossed around. Her father, Jamie, has deflected it, even though over the years, no one has been more in control of Britney's life than he has. He's now calling on the court to investigate the claims she made, but a lot of these matters today need to be taken care of first before that process can even begin. Kaylee Hartung, ABC News, Los Angeles.
So by now, you probably have questions. What is a conservatorship? So I'm joined right now, Lori Tucker, Greg Isaacs. Walk us through it.
All right, time for our extended Ask Isaacs. After you saw the nuts and bolts of what's happening in the life of pop star Britney Spears, and yes, for people to try to wrap their minds about what's going on, what has gone on over this $60 million fortune over the last 13 years in Britney Spears' life with her dad at the helm, let's talk about what a conservatorship is.
Well, a conservatorship, Lori, is a legal proceeding that is very severe because in Tennessee it's known as a conservatorship. Outside of Tennessee it's known as a guardianship. And basically you have an adult and that adult is disabled for some reason, and that can mean physically disabled, or it can mean mentally or psychologically disabled.
How far do you have to go to prove that?
Well, what you do is, first you have to have an individual that has, for whatever reason, the physical or mental disability, is unable to make sound medical, legal, and financial decisions. So if someone is at that point, then you have to have a petition that's filed. Here it would be in Chancery Court. The petition has to set forth certain facts. You have to have either a physician or a psychologist/psychiatrist provide an affidavit. Then you have to also have testimony or an affidavit from a lay person stating that this person is in need of supervision, protection, or assistance. And the courts can do a panoply of things. It can be a temporary conservatorship. It can be permanent. But Lori, here's the key. In the state of Tennessee, it must be the least restrictive means.
least restrictive means. Explain that.
Well, the
And we're
court
talking
has to look
California where that's happening, but they call it conservatorship
at other
there.
options. And
Yeah.
you know, as Austin put the package together, you know, Britney Spears, since 2008, when her conservatorship was created, it was temporary, then it became permanent. Based on erratic behavior, divorce, custody issues, etc. But during the interim, here's what this individual is doing that has to ask permission and can't have a family and can't.
She's almost 40 years old.
Conceive children. She
Right.
has grossed a tour that grossed $130 million
In this time.
in this time frame. She has had a 4-year residency at Las Vegas, which has been tremendously successful, but yet. Her lawyer, the court-appointed lawyer, she didn't know that she could hire her own lawyer. She has no control over her finances.
Well, and I saw this. Let me ask you this really quickly. Under California law, conservatees are not automatically entitled to appoint their own lawyers because they can't make any personal or financial decisions, such as signing a contract with a lawyer. So, are you saying that she can? Is there a loophole where she can?
What I'm saying is that the appointed lawyer has been paid $520,000 a year. He's asking to resign. A trust has also asked to resign. The new conservator, which took over from her father, is trying to come up with a plan that may kind of transition Britney back to having control of her money, her person, whatever. But this is important. The hearing today, with all of this just montage of hashtag free Britney and whatever, is to determine, can she hire her own lawyer? But it's kind of like the chicken and the egg. To hire her own lawyer, she's got to have access to the money that's part of the conservatorship / guardianship to do so.
And she's getting $2,000 a month, right?
Yeah,
okay. We've heard horror stories in the past from other parents of famous kids who've totally taken advantage of them and just ripped apart any finances they made and ran through that money. I can think of about 3 right offhand. So how easy is it to take advantage of this? How easy is it for the father to say, no, I'm in charge?
Well, it's very easy, and again, if you are over the conservatorship, you have a fiduciary duty. Now, the court allows you to be compensated. If you think about this, this is a pretty complex business being Britney Spears. You got the tour, the worldwide tour that was highly successful. You got the residency in Las Vegas. You got a $60 million estate. So you've got accountants, you've got managers, you've got things that need to be done. So her father was getting $16,000 a month, so he's not doing it out of love and charity for Britney. But here's what in conservatorships and guardianships that we see here in Tennessee, there typically is no doubt that person is physically or mentally disabled and needs supervision, protection, and assistance. Here you
at
have
the time.
At the time.
This.
Here,
And so I have something that I know we've probably all. This has been more than a decade.
This has been 13 years.
13
Right.
years.
Is there a time limit that do they have to go through a review every so many years to say, hey, they're still incompetent to handle themselves? Is there a review process or anything like that?
And they've done that.
They've
through
done
the
it,
years.
and Austin, that's a great question.
Yeah.
But again, that's what the conservator or the guardian is supposed to do. They're supposed to report to the court. They are supposed to keep records.
Yeah.
And if Britney's getting better, they're supposed to bring it to the court's attention. Her court-appointed lawyer should advocate on behalf of Britney. But what I was saying is, when I see people in guardianships or conservatorships, they have been in horrific accidents. They can't work. They can't do this, that, the other. They have tremendous mental problems. But here's an individual who continues to support herself with a successful world
A
tour.
grueling tour that takes a lot. You got to have it going on to be able to pull something like that off.
Well, you've got the dancing, you've got the choreography, the all the stuff that goes with being able to mentally perform at that level. Then you've got a residency in Las Vegas, which in and of itself takes a lot of mental acuity, a lot of talent, and then you're scratching your head going, all right, if she's doing this at a very high level and is successful, grossed $130 million, are you telling me that she can't make a decision to have a family, to get married, to take care of her very basic needs. So, you know.
Be careful, Greg Isaacs. The Free Britney movement might be calling you, saying you need to represent.
They need to call somebody because,
yeah.
you know, the problem with one of these things, even though they're supposed to be the least restrictive, you know, if you're the court, you're just faced with a lot of people that are, you know, in need of supervision, protection, and assistance.
Yeah, and then you're surrounded by yes people.
Well, yes, people.
You know, you've got to be careful with somebody of that stature.
Well, and it's kind of like, you know, in the penitentiary, you don't have guilty people. They're all innocent. And I guess if you're a conservator or you're in that court in California or here in Tennessee, everybody that has a conservatorship thinks they don't need a conservatorship. So, you know, you hear ad nauseum every day, the judge, hey, I'm not really crazy, it's them.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the dynamic that we're in, but to me, you know, if it walks like a duck, looks like a duck, it's a duck. You know, if Britney Spears can perform at that level, she can generate. Now think about this. Here is a court finding that this person is in need of supervision, protection, and assistance. But yet, at the same time, this person can generate $130 million. This person that needs protection, supervision, and assistance can, night after night, do a residency in Las Vegas and pack the room and do her set. So, you know, it's really counterintuitive that legally she needs all of this help and that the money needs to go to other people when she is being able to take care of herself. I mean, you got to be able to perform. You got to be able to articulate. You got to be able to sing. You got to be able to dress.
Got to be on your
game. The choreography. It's amazing at that level. And then say, oh, okay, the curtain is closed. Now, Britney, you are bat crap crazy. Go sit in your room.
And here's your little meager money compared to what she's making.
I think I found somebody I care about, and I'd like to kind of do this, and we were going to go off and get married and have it. No, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You're crazy.
And again,
but at the same point now,
now,
you know, you're so crazy. Can you please get on stage and generate $130 million and pay for your court-appointed lawyer, for the conservator, and whatever? So
people may not be surprised to know when she said, "I'm going to retire then. I'm not going to perform anymore. I'm not going to do that and send the money into the pockets of people I don't want it to be in." The Free Britney movement, we just saw video of them. They've been so vocal. I pulled up Britney's Instagram page, just kind of keeping up with what's going on. But so many people are weighing in every single day. She has, they're not going away. They're very vocal. ACLU has weighed in as well. Does this movement have any impact on the case? I mean, it certainly continues to shine the spotlight.
It's not supposed to.
No,
but if you are a judge and you are under the tremendous spotlight, legally, you're on the spotlight in you know, entertainment news, legal news. You're on the front page of papers throughout the country. You're on TV nationally. You whether consciously or subconsciously, you want to do the right thing and not be perceived as the person that is bungling a case with national notoriety. And, you know, it makes you want to do the right thing, because if you're not doing the right thing, there's a spotlight on you. So this is not done in a courtroom with a lot of anonymity where nobody's there. This is being done under tremendous public scrutiny and pressure, and that's why courts should be open. And they are required to be open throughout our country. And now people are scratching their head and going, how can a person perform at that level, support herself, and yet be denied the very basic essence of being a person, a mother, a wife. But
it's very sad, you know, to hear her or read some of her statements in court saying, I am traumatized, and she's dialing in remotely, apparently, for the hearing. I know that this is airing on another day as well, so we want to try to not make this time sensitive. But let's talk about the June 23rd hearing. It was apparently illegally live streamed in violation of the judge's order. So I guess the judge has the final say, but you're saying this should be open to the public so everybody can see and there's this transparency.
Well, you should, and sometimes you can have things that are sealed or some things that are done in chambers or whatever, and maybe because you had some sensitive issues regarding medical issues, HIPAA issues, we're just speculating. Maybe the judge did not want it to be public. But, you know, one thing if you want to do is to upset, or as we say at the courthouse, piss off a judge, is if he says it's not to be live streamed or whatever, for someone to violate that order. So this is going to be interesting, but with all the media and all of the dancing, the singing, and the glitter, you know what we're not hearing, and this kind of concerns me from the legal perspective, is the battle of the experts. Because what I would expect to see in a case like this, Lori, in Austin, is, all right, the conservator or the guardian has a forensic psychologist or psychiatrist, and they say that here are the issues with Britney, and this is why she has compulsions, or she has a mental disease or defect, that if we gave her her money or let her conceive or whatever, it would be a disaster. It would not be in her best interest. And then Britney's team and camp would have somebody to say, no, this person does not need supervision, protection, and assistance. Look at how successful and dynamic she is. So I'm kind of scratching my head, and sometimes the media covers bits, portions, and pieces. And you know, to pull out this entire file that spans 13 years would take a lot of work. But my question is, if you want the judge to change his mind, don't get on TMZ. Find a psychologist or a psychiatrist that will give an opinion and opine that Britney Spears can make sound legal, medical, and financial decisions. So that's what I find troublesome from the outside looking in.
And Britney has said, I don't want to go through that again. I don't want to go through another evaluation. I've been through evaluations.
Well, therein may be the problem, because you just can't say, you know, I think I'm doing pretty good, and I'm kind of famous, and I just like this all to go away. What you need to do is go, I want to get the best forensic psychologist, psychiatrist I can get, and have a hearing and put this behind me. So you know, Lori, that may be at the end of the day the problem is in a case like this, where in 2008, you know, demonstrably she was exhibiting some signs of mental illness. She was on 2 occasions committed for a while, and she was going through a tough time. Custody issues with her kids, a divorce, whatever.
Paparazzi was following her all over the place. She attacked a car with an umbrella. She shaved her head.
But even since then, you know, a couple weeks ago when the first court hearing, Kevin Federline, her ex, his attorney, put out a statement in his support for Britney as well in this. So I think, you know, if you were looking at that aspect with her kids, you know, that is the child. Her kids are his, and he even thinks, you know, hey, it could be time to really, you know, let her go, let her be free, to be the mom, you know.
And also, if I'm the chancellor, I mean, I think that's somebody that would carry a lot of credibility, because here's the mother of the children that will, you know, have visitation, etc. But then again, it's not that hard, you know. Bring the experts to court and let's go from there. But, you know, in Britney's defense, you know, these things take time and they are invasive, and so she probably at this stage does not want to go through another battery of forensic testing.
Living in a goldfish bowl for her entire life, you know, it's hard to get into where she is and everything she's gone through. And I don't know if you've seen it, the Framing Britney documentary, but it shines a light. I know you've seen it.
I have.
It shines a light on her personal life and some very disturbing allegations.
It does.
Within the family dynamic.
And I do know on our website right now, you can read all about, you know, kind of the whole ordeal from start to finish. And also you'll see a couple clips of Framing Britney on there. We saw it earlier in the package from here. And of course, you know, you guys are going to talk about this a little bit more.
We are coming up at 5:30. We're going to talk about, you know, when you think about conservatorships, you may think about people that are far removed from our lives, people like Britney Spears, people that have a lot of money. But Greg, you don't have to have a lot of money to be under a conservatorship. You kind of touched on that. So we're going to delve a little bit deeper into that and well, some more about this case. So be sure to stay with us on the air on WATE coming up tonight at 5:30 with Ask Isaacs. Thank you as always.
Thank you, Lori, Austin.
Thanks.
Have a good one.